And we're back twice in a row, just in case you missed it, ready for our second game of the EU qualifiers coming from our main studio here at the North American Hub, presented by Monster Energy. Going to be Mouseports, who has actually tested a lot more than I think any of us anticipated in their previous match just moments ago, taking on Relax, in many eyes, perhaps a dark horse team. So, but yeah, I only got to catch some of that game, but you know, he really pushed Mouz about as far as they could have.
Yeah, we were busy casting one game, so I didn't see it all either. But for the most part, hold on, is that me?
Nope,
Oops.
that is.
Okay, but sorry, a little bit of a distraction over here. But anyways, for me, that game was like, it went pretty far. It was a long game, but Fada and Invoker really pulled through for me in that game. I just caught the tail end, and he just had some magnificent play on that Invoker. Had one big combo, got a triple kill off of a Meteor and Deafening Blast combo. But yeah, they were pushed a lot harder than we expected, and going into Relax, that could be worrisome for them.
Yeah, I mean, well, for Mouz, it almost has to feel kind of encouraging because I don't know, it's give and it's take. Like, you don't want to have a moment like that where you almost falter early, but at the same time, you know you're going to falter at some point. No one's perfect. So now you can just be like, all right, we almost gave one up. Screw it. We're fine. We know we can pull it out. Let's just settle down and play our game. So the draft is underway between Mouz and Relax. We'll move on into that now. Again, I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. Fear right beside me, giving us the expert insight and analysis. And there it is. Nope. There we are. All right. So as we can see, the draft already just about halfway done. Mouz leading off with Marana and Darkseer, the Ancient Apparition, out with that as well. While Relax, well, they're following the trends, I would say. Brewmaster has really seen his star rise all throughout the TI4 qualifiers, region to region. Shadow Fiend, we didn't see as much in the other regions. A huge pick in the Americas qualifiers. Looks like Relax wants to roll with that, as well as Rubik.
Shadow Fiend for me is like one of the best heroes in Dota right now. If you can pull it off with the stacking and just making sure Shadow Fiend has a good start, that hero is incredibly strong. But it's really weird to see it in first two. Yeah. But it can work. It is with the Brewmaster as well, so they have like a double mid going on too. So that's actually very strange. I'm not a big fan of the safe lane Shadow Fiend. For me, it's like doing the safe lane Naga. I think both those heroes excel in the mid role. But I'd like to see the mid Shadow Fiend and a safe lane Brew. They could do it either way, but that is my personal preference. Mouseports going for the offlane Darkseer, AA Marana. Pretty standard picks coming out of them. I'd like to see them pick something up with that Darkseer that just kind of combos well with that Darkseer. Yeah,
I totally agree with you, and I actually really like Darkseer Ancient Apparition. If you can pull it off, it is amazingly effective, especially in early team fights where your Ancient Apparition, I mean, obviously Ancient Apparition, the further you are away, the bigger the AoE, that's fine. But you can actually just say, we don't need that. If we just time it correctly, a vacuum's going to guarantee us 3 or 4, and we can be shooting at point blank. Then we can also utilize Chilling Touch and Cold Feet and everything else. But Relax, talking, coming back to what you were saying about the oddity that is the Brew and the Shadow Fiend, two heroes that really almost demand mid, or at least the solo lane at the very least. Something, and well, I don't know, the Shadow Shaman kind of confounds. I was going to say something you used to see for a little while, way back in the day when Brewmaster was picked before his big fall off. I used to see some weird Brewmaster dual lanes, because he can actually be effective in that role. He is survivable. If you get him with the right supporting cast, it works. But yeah, instead it's going to be Rubik, Shadow Shaman, to follow it up. Both heroes can function in that kind of a role, or even in an aggressive tri-lane, but the problem is Shadow Shaman's so squishy. Rubik, he has telekinesis, but he really needs someone kind of big and bulky to soak up damage. Brew could be that if they wanted to run it aggressively, but I'm totally on board. Brew and Shadow Fiend, they really need a solo lane, and I kind of hope they do end up doing something aggressive with their last pick, just so they can get the Shadow Fiend and the Brew isolated in the solo safe and the solo mid.
I don't think they have any opportunity to go aggressive, seeing that they have the Bane, Marana, Ancient Apparition. If they go aggressive into that with Rubik, Shadow Shaman supports, they're dead. So I think putting Brew in that safe lane farming position could be a good option for him. If a hero like is a fast blink dagger, gets his level 6, and create space for that Shadow Fiend and if you can get this timing with like the 16-minute or so BKB, if it comes any later than that, it's usually a pretty rough game for Shadow Fiend. And then I don't like the hero so much. He really has to hit his timings more than any other hero. Shadow Fiend, Naga, a couple heroes that just really have to hit their timings, or they really fall off as heroes. But if they get their timings, they have a really strong 5-man. Brewmaster's ultimate, Shadow Shaman can drop ward, Shadow Fiend when he does get that BKB up, and they are going to pick the Clockwork, so that will be their offlaner. And Mouseports, they're the team that has the option to aggressive if they want to, but I think both teams are just going to play passive laning phase.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. It's something they could end up doing, and you had mentioned this, and I can remember one of the longest just flat-out theory craft conversations I ever had with a pro player was actually with Puppy. going back quite some time ago. And we talked for like 30 minutes about Shadow Fiend as a hero, just kind of hanging out. And he's very much, and as most of us are, just on board with the idea of tri-laning a Shadow Fiend is just wasting the hero. It's just really wasting his potential and what he can do. And I guess you can make up with that, like you said, if you've got your supports just super active, saying, okay, we're going to stay in the jungle for a while. We're going to put you one-on-one ostensibly, maybe pressure mid, but more importantly, we're going to be stacking like 2 and 3 camps at a time. Maybe you can make it work in that situation, but yeah, Mouz, like you said, has the aggressive potential. Would be nice if they could get MSS and Fade Up both solo lane experience and farm if they wanted to solo safe the puck. Don't know though. We're jumping in game number 2 here on the mainstream from the North American hub. Mouz, the favorite to come out of here, not just with a trip to Seattle, but to win their way directly into the bracket. They're 1-0, looking to make it 2-0 against Relax.
Indeed they are, and it looks like Mouz is going to go out really quickly for that 5-man to get them some wards out, it looks like. Yeah, they do have some sentries out where they can block the camps, which this could be an indicator that they do want to run this aggressive tri-lane. And Panda's actually camping up in the off lane here. Are they going to be dodging or doing dual lanes here? It's hard to know. Relax is just kind of scattered, but one thing's for certain, Clockwork is going down at this bottom lane.
Yep. Clock, maybe anticipating this, maybe not. Trying the dodge, as you said. Problem is you only dodge for so long. If Mouz is really dedicated to trying to pressure you in that situation, they will have a chance to switch it up and get eyes on you. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and get a ward down on his own. He's actually very fortunate he wasn't spotted, so at the very least, maybe they'll be able to dodge for a little while. But the lanes still are kind of taking a little bit of shape. It looks like they are going to do this dual lane. And this is, you know, I mentioned this in passing during the draft, that there was a time when Brew, when he was run, if he wasn't run mid, at least, I don't know, 15-20% of the time, you would see him wind up in this kind of dual lane oddity situation. He's going to be laning, it would seem, with Dread going to the top lane as a Shadow Shot.
This game will actually hinge a lot on what they can accomplish in this lane. For the most part, Rubik and Clockwork is a very strong lane. If Darkster gets caught out, like, you can throw people into the cogs, which is extremely powerful. And if he gets caught out by that, he's probably going to die. But he can stay back, just watch where Rubik's at, and MSS should do okay in this lane, but he can die at any moment. But what's really worrisome for me is, like, is this dueling going to be able to accomplish much against this AA, Mirana, and Bane lane? It's a very strong lane. If either of them get caught out, they can feed relentlessly up here, so they have to be very careful.
Yep. Lanes take shape, and I'm curious if either team's going to make an adjustment here. I mean, mid, Fata versus Crazy, a.k.a. Tame My Wild. You know, should be a pretty decent lane for both sides. I don't think either of them are really going to be bullying each other around for the most part, unless you just see some very fortuitous rune spotting or whatever. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and bring, just leave the Brew in the off lane completely, as they're now beginning to rotate the Shadow Shaman away. And this is chancy. I mean, Brew, a hero that he needs his levels, but more than anything, he does need some semblance of farm. He needs at least a Blink Dagger in some way of getting his mana back up, be it Arc Boots or be it a bottle.
It's kind of strange seeing the Brew in the offlane and not the Clockwork, but I think it is the right call for at least to get the support out of there, because I don't think he'd be accomplishing anything but stealing the Brewmaster's experience, which he desperately needs.
And we can see they are zoning him out. The creep wave is pushed up close enough that he should be able to soak experience, at least for this wave, and at least for a little while. But, yeah, I feel like in this situation, Relax is going to have to get a lot out of their bottom lane, either by killing off the Darkseer or, more importantly, by rotating those supports around. Do they have a smoke on either of them? They don't on the Rubik. I just saw that.
No, they do not.
Yep, so no smoke. I don't know. Looks like they're going to go ahead and take a run at the Darkseer. They're actually teleporting someone down. That is the Brews coming down here. But MSS actually loops around through the side shop and buys himself a TP scroll. He's going to try to buy time to get as far away as he can. He's actually been spotted by it, though. And he's kind of trying to eat his way through. He's going to surge, but runs right into Yoki. And cogs go down, so MSS trying to get a little too cute with the escape path. Will end up being our first blood, and it goes to the Brewmaster as well. So Relax, well, they kind of got a free one that time.
Yeah, and Darkster ended up using like 4 or 5 tangos there to try to save himself, so he's going to be low in region too.
Yep.
And it looks like the thing was they were expecting an aggressive tri-lane, so their lanes were predicting aggressive tri-lane so they could get more out of it, but seems like lane phase didn't go as they wanted to, so Panda TP bottom, and they're going to switch it up.
On that off lane, it will be Shallow on the clock, and he's got a good start, sitting at level 3 already, so he should feel fairly confident being able to hang in lane and do his job. I mean, obviously, against the aggressive potential of a Bane and a Mirana alone, that's tough to do, but For now, we'll focus on the other lanes as everything does seem to be settling down with MSS moving his way on into the jungle. He's going to go ahead and stack that hard camp. In mid, we can see it's about even. Puck and Shadow Fiend roughly on par with each other in levels. 12-2 to 13-5. A little bit of a lead for Tame, but nothing huge.
Yeah, but the problem with this for him is, like, Shadow Fiend, once he gets his souls up, he's going to be able to free farm this mid lane against Puck, and he's going to need some ganks at some point, or the Shadow Fiend will free farm and have his timings, which he desperately needs.
So the way that the lanes are now, looks like this will be how it's going to... It looks like it's going to be stable like this for a bit. Who do you give the advantage to?
It's hard to say. I mean, they have the Shadow Fiend in mid, which is doing... He's on track, and that's always what you want to see, but the early rotations kind of caught Relax off guard, so they should be losing in experience a little bit, and they are. But the gold, they did get the first blood, so they're good in that department. So relatively calm and even laning phase right now.
Bottle out. No career snipes happening this time. And, yeah, really, I guess all we can really do is look ahead to what objectives each side might have. The roam potential is gigantic on the side of Mouz, but it's not bad for Relax either. We can see Dread stacking this hard camp up, so that's going to be a lot of farm whenever they decide to bring the Shadow Fiend on in. And Dread now going to find himself in Invis. There's no target in bottom lane for him to go after, but he may try to make something happen mid. Problem is, Puck notoriously hard to track down, especially at this phase when he's had enough time to get up a sufficient amount of levels.
But with the Shackles, they might be able to bring him down. If they had level 2 Ether Shot, I think for sure. But this could be a first blood if they play absolutely perfectly.
Second blood.
Or second blood, honestly.
Yep. Phaetop very good at Puck, though, as we see. Oh, gets him Shackles from long range. He just used his jaunt. There's another phase shift. Do they have the damage? They don't. So Phaetop zigging and zagging and finding his way to safety. There's going to be a rocket flare. Oh, that was on the mark. If he had hit one more auto attacker, even connected with that second raise, that would have been a kill. Instead, Phaetop able to limp away, or I guess limp and drag a wing, back to safety as he makes it away very, very low. In the meantime, Misery's rotating the top. Looks like they want to try to pick off Shallow underneath his own tier 1. Here comes the dive. He's going to show himself in lane now, being pursued out. And, ow, he actually lost him in vision. Shallow drops the cogs and is finding himself into a safe area. Arrow's going to be missed as well. Shallow trying to juke and jive, but doesn't matter. Help's coming. It's going to be a little bit too late. As Mouz finds their way on. Now, big reaction, though. It's going to be a nightmare onto the Brewmaster. Windix there with them in case. Relax, though. Looks like
they just TP'd their whole bottom lane up there and didn't get anything out of it. That's kind of a big deal. They're going to have to force themselves into like an aggressive tri-lane situation now, but none of them really have mana. Like Rubik's out of mana. I guess the Shadow Shaman does have
Nightmare
mana,
on the Tame My Wild in mid. Phaetop.
No coil.
Yep, coming forward, and I guess, yeah, just needed to make sure he knew that they meant business, that's all.
Yeah, if they would have had one more creep, they wouldn't be able to get him there. He was one creep off of that coil, and that would have for sure been a kill, so... Timing a little bit off there from both sides now, going for that mid gank.
6 minutes in, 2 kills, split right down the middle, 1 apiece. Mirana, #1 in last hits so far. She's at 35 CS, but we're beginning to see the Shadow Fiend, as he always does, really kick in here in mid. Shallow grabs himself a haste rune. He's going to move into the jungle. He actually is going to go behind, and he might have a shot at the courier if he wanted to take it. Doesn't look like he does, or he's not aware of it, actually. He didn't see it. Misery's going to walk right up to him. He's going to back off. Doesn't want to be spotted. Don't know if Misery saw him or not. Don't think he did. Might have there. And, yeah, I think he did. Yeah, pinged out immediately. So he's just going to go ahead and head back to lane.
Yeah, and right now I'm just looking at the levels real quick. Shadow Shaman, level 3. Rubik, level 2. They're kind of lacking there, whereas the supports on the Mouse are both level 4. So supports... paying a price for this early roaming they had to do just by not knowing what the lanes were, and on top an over commitment on top lane. I think they TP'd 3 heroes up there and got nothing, which that won't reflect in the gold draft, but it's kind of a big deal.
It's a momentum kind of a thing, you know, in terms of just being totally on level. We can see Misery once again in Viz mid under cover of smoke. Unfortunately for him, the Shadow Fiend has moved into the jungle. It's now going to work on these creeps. That stack should still be there and is. So he's going to have his Midas done, like, basically now. He doesn't have enough mana to go and raise anymore. He'll be waiting on his bottle to come back out. Once it's there, though, he can go raise down that stacked hard camp, and he'll have his Midas up probably around 8.5 to 9 minutes.
He can't show his face mid now, so he's, like, really close to it right now, 50 gold off. But if he shows his face, he's going to die to Fada's coil because he is really low.
Yep, he's going to move forward. And one more raise. Nope. Gets a deny. Just waiting on one last CS. There's his bottle, though. also he'll feel much more confident coming out and actually foregoing CS in favor of denies there.
He'll get it because regardless of chickens and youth, he'll take up to his. But yeah, he's going to have that 8-minute Midas, which is a good timing for him. And on bottom lane, we do have the Brewmaster, who does have Splink Dagger money as well. So so far, they're hitting their timings well. They just need their level 6 in Clockwork, which he's been struggling to find. He's level 4. Some early rotations not working out, and him dying, of course. But once they have that up as well, Arrow, and it will connect.
Let's see if they can follow it up. Nightmare's there. There's going to be the leap ahead. Starstorm and a Brain Sap brings him down, so that's a second death Shalo's had already, being slowed down even more. 2-1. Mouz takes the lead in kills. They're going to go ahead and push that tower off of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, this Clock was having a rough time, then he just, that wasn't even set up by a Nightmare, that was just a blind arrow, and he caught him, and Clock is really struggling this game, so I feel like a lot of pressure is going to be on this Brewmaster, who just now picks up his Blink.
A lot of pressure on the Brewmaster, and Clock, when he does hit 6, needs to hit his hooks. How many times have we seen in the qualifiers? You know, Clock is just, he's like a punch, man. If you hit your hooks and they're well shot, you're going to be in great shape. But they need to get usage out of him, even though he is likely to be a little under-leveled and a little under-farmed. The Brew, as you said, is going to have to be of high value in particular, too, with a lane dedicated to him. And they do have a ton of push power, by the way, with the Brewmaster able to dive and the Shadow Shaman. If they can get Shadow Shaman to 6 and maybe start taking towers, they're going to be in great shape.
Yeah, they definitely will be. And Hoth has been doing a good job on this bot lane, just soaking experience, just hitting level 6. So that is now available. I think if he can shoot that mid lane, looks like he's, oh, they're pinging on top lane. If he shoots a ult to mid lane, he can easily kill Dread here with a Dream Coil.
There's the ulti.
Looks like it's going to top lane.
Yep, shot. Yeah, that was awesome. Shot at the woods.
All right.
And that actually did catch Tame here in mid, so still no follow-up. Dread's there hanging out right now. They're splitting experience. Tame again with that Midas. And did go clear the jungle quite a bit. He's actually got an Ogre Club up already, so making excellent progress towards his core BKB.
Yeah, he really wants to get that BKB if he's fast. Normally you see power treads directly after. This gives you some attack speed and some HP, but he wants to rush that BKB very quickly. And I don't disagree completely with it. I think the treads is a little better, because if you get that BKB too early and you waste a couple of charges, it kind of falls off really quickly, just the charges go down. So, and the power treads plus Ogre Club gives you usually enough HP where you can survive anyways until you can finish it off.
It does make sense, though. I mean, when you look at Mouz, they're relying on magic damage heavily to be able to defend. Until the Mirana, if and when, she's actually able to start building some right-click. She's not off to a bad start. Again, her net worth second on the board, sitting at 4,800 to the 5,000 amassed by the Shadow Fiend so far, but they are so reliant on that magic damage. If they're able to hit a proper timing with the Brewmaster Blink, Clock at 6, Shadow Shaman 6, and just start taking towers, and when a big fight does eventually break out, if he's quick with it and doesn't allow himself to be Fiend's Grip, that's really going to be the equalizing factor. Relax does have a team that I feel like could just seize control of the mid-game and start to apply the stranglehold a bit.
Yeah, they definitely have a nice lineup. I'm actually a little worried for Mouz right now. Like, their lineup is okay. They're kind of all in on this, like, Mirana. Yep. And on top of it, it looks like they're going to go in with the hook shot.
Yep, Shalo got the cogs down, pulling back, and there's going to be Yoki. And Misery caught, brought back. A ultimate does connect on the 2, though. They're going to come back forward, maybe try to go for a kill, and Misery going to be hexed out. Now there's a split from Brewmaster. Misery should end up dead here, did nothing but burn damage. Can he stay? No, he actually darts to the north, and Misery just hoping they don't find him, while the rest of the Pandas look for him. Yeah, he's going to be able to make it away, so very close to just burning down to the Fire Spirit instead. Makes it away. Coil spent on Tame. Tame in mid down to about half health. He's going to jump right on top of him, gets the Waning Rift off as well. AA is there. Here's Dread, though, and Tame comes back out. There's going to be Shackles, but here comes the Starstorm. That gets the kill, and Dread brought down as well. They have to lose the Ancient Apparition in the process, but still a very high-value kill to bring down the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, they were able to not only bait out Panda ults, and we've talked about time and time again, you have to get a lot done with those first couple Panda ults or the hero does fall off. And then in mid lane as well, their second problem they were facing was the Shadow Fiend. They get a kill there too. So they take care of like 2 of their biggest problems, and they will get a tower on bottom as well. So in that last minute and a half, Mouz got a lot of work done, but I was saying I was a little worried for them because I feel like they're kind of stretched thin on what they need to be doing like in the early game. And late game, what do they have? Just this Mirana for the most part, and she's not even going Midas. It's a purely aggressive lineup, and they don't have heroes that can really take towers down quickly, so they really have to get these tier 1s and deal to Shadow Fiend early, or else Relax, I feel like they're just in a more comfortable position just in the nature of lineups.
Wendick spotted. There's an A ultimate on the mark. Ancient Apparition secures that. And now a hook. That's going to be onto Feta. Let's see if they can keep him pinned in. He's going to phase shift. Yoki's there. Doesn't have his ultimate on call. Tame My Wild right there. Uses the ulti. Feta will be able to jaunt away. There's a sleep on the Yoki to buy some time for the rest of the team to group up. Mech showed off for the first time. Tame caught with the silence. He's on the back of this. Oh, wow. Nice coil. Got 3. And now Dread's going to end up dropping. Tame is hemmed up. They end up bringing down the Bane, but they lose Shadow Fiend for the second time in as many minutes. Vacuum buys a little bit of time. MSS will be able to make it away at the end of everything, so it ends up being a 7-3 Mouz lead. There's going to be an ultimate. It's going to be shot. That'll catch Yoki. Feta's still there playing very aggressive. Does manage to jaunt away. Caught the Fade Bolt, but not enough to bring him down. In the meantime, Shalo's still pursuing out some trouble, but rethinking it as he rushed the high ground, realized that's not a lot of health he had to call upon. But honestly, Mouz getting away with 3 heroes limping back to the fountain with about 100 HP maybe to rub between them. And that's another win. Shadow Fiend down for the second time in 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to be doing right now with this lane. They need to keep fighting as much as they possibly can because they have an advantage right now. And they're going to have an advantage until Shadow Fiend gets his BKB. Then I dare say, when Shadow Fiend gets the BKB, the team fight advantage goes the way of Relax, as long as it's in a reasonable time frame.
Feta's doing such a great job of just harassing Tame. He's making him spin bottle charges, making it a little bit more difficult for him to hang in lane, of course. Raises to help you flash farm regardless of pressure, so Tame back on track, but he has lost a lot of gold and a lot of time.
And on bottom lane, the arrow and AO. He's done for.
Well done. And Dread ends up dying to Pycat. As you said, they are kind of all in on this Mirana, but Pycat's doing a pretty good job. He's had an excellent early game. He's actually on top of net worth. Now 4-0 up at top. Misery going to be hit with the hook. And yeah, there's the Panda ulti inside of the cogs. They're going to be able to toss one in the air. Misery's still hanging around, but if they're having such a hard time, Coil will be spent to try and counter-initiate this. Feta caught with the rock afterwards. And let's see if he is elusive enough to make it away. Misery gets surged, and he's going to, almost had Fiend's Grip up. Very quick blink from Yoki as he reassembled. Arrow shot again. That's going to catch Tame. Arrows on point from Pycat. AA ultimate on the way. That's going to be another kill as the Shadow Fiend cannot stay standing. The pressure from Mouz so hard to deal with. They lose one on the back of that as Relax finally manages to catch them napping a little bit. Pycat should be safe, though. And looks like the Rubik actually stole Starstorm towards the end. But regardless of what they give up, trading just about anything for kills on that Shadow Fiend is exactly what they need, and they're doing a great job of keeping the pressure on and keeping him down.
Yeah, Mouseports at this point is completely outplaying Relax. Like, hitting arrows on top of it, right on top of it, they get the AA blast. So just, not too much to say, but just complete outplay at this point from Mouz. They're just playing a lot better, whereas I give Relax, like, I thought they were going to do a lot better in these mid-game fights with the Brewmaster ultimate. This has been 2 Brewmaster ultimates in a row that haven't got a single kill, to be honest with you.
He split in cogs.
Yeah.
Like, split with the enemy on either side, the other side of the cogs. Like, this is a little weird. It's back on cooldown, and this Shadow Fiend has been sitting on a few hundred gold towards his Mithril Hammer for about the last 4 or 5 minutes now. So just delaying his item progression as usually as they have is a big factor. I mean, how often do you see a Mirana played in a 1 position who is out farming a mid Shadow Fiend who won his lane or at least broke even and got a Midas up at 8 minutes? Like, this is really just paying huge dividends for them.
Yeah, Pycat's playing amazing right now. He's hitting tons of arrows, getting a lot of solo takeoffs, but on top of it, Poss is hitting great Ice Blast on top of it. And not to mention, like, Fada as well is playing a really great puck, so everyone on Mouseport is playing extremely well at this point.
See that bottom tower now looks to be the target. They've got 2 rotated down. Fada, under cover of smoke. MSS is smoked as well. They're just pushing it with the Ion Shell, trying to bait a single hero reaction at top. They're also pressuring the Tier 1. Yoki is standing back in the trees. Should have an ultimate back off cooldown, I do believe. But at this point, yeah, it's going to be about 2 seconds. But he's got to be a little gun-shy with it. He's used it twice and has gotten next to nothing out of it. A ultimate will be shot. That's going to be again on the mark against Tame. He gets coiled, and he should end up shattering here. No, they actually deploy the wards. Feta will be brought down, but they do end up trading away the Shadow Fiend for it. Shalu's there with the cogs to punish MSS, so a 2-for-1 exchange, not optimum. But once again, the Shadow Fiend dies. That's what, his 4th, 5th death of the game. Now we're going to see Yoki caught with the Fiend's Grip up in top lane. They're just pecking away, arrow to follow. And another great kill. Didn't even give him time to split. Well played.
Yeah, so at first I was going to say that was going to be good for Relax. Even though the Shadow Fiend does go down, that kind of sucks for him, but they got 2 kills out of it. But they lost the Brewmaster in the process, so yet again, Mousesports taking every single team fight. if you can call them team fights. Like every single engagement or skirmish.
Yeah, see, like this is very often, you know, casters, we all kind of have our own lingo. You know, some of us share a lot of it, some of us have their own things. This is what I usually refer to as carving up the map. They're just basically isolating parts of the map and going, we can win here. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be an AA ultimate plus an arrow. It could be a full-out 3-on-3 skirmish. It could be anything. You're just carving the map up and taking wins in pretty much every sector of the map they move a hero. And it's really impressive to see. They're showing us right now why they're favored by so many people to go deep.
Indeed they are, and they're doing a really good job at punishing this Midas Shadow Fiend. A lot of teams have Shadow Fiend, they get a Midas, and they allow him to free farm for a long time, and they pay for it, but he's been so close. He would have had that BKB if he didn't go Midas, basically, at this point. But he wanted to get that Midas up, get his next item, and then after that just become a huge, like, threat. But he can't get that next item because they keep ganking him, and all he has is this Midas and Ogre Club.
He's been sitting on that for seriously like 7 minutes now.
He's been very close, and it's not his fault. It's just that Mouz has been applying so much pressure. He hasn't had the backup, basically.
Yeah, he can't breathe. Like, they're just choking him out. In the meantime, Pycat, who has had a phenomenal game, as we've seen, finishes up his Maelstrom. It's going to be a rocket shot in the mid. Doesn't connect on much of anything. But yeah, Pycat's 6-0 and just finished a Maelstrom on top of Phase Drum's Aquila. Fantastic item progression for him. And this is what you want. Like, we always talk about Mirana, and her transition to a true one core into the late game is always kind of sketchy. It's up, it's down. Doesn't always happen the way you want it to. But he's right on par to just be able to slug toe-to-toe with just about anyone. Finally, we're going to see those Serpent Wards put to use.
Oh, great vacuum.
Misery brought back, and A Ultimate will be on the mark. Only caught Dread, though, so the rest backed out. There's a vacuum into a wall, and that should be enough to at least force them back and maybe keep the tower standing. Pycat's chasing a courier right near the Ancients, but it is microed to safety, at least for the moment. Yeah, finally they get it back, and poor courier just trying to get some arc boost through the body. Pycat's going to TP out though.
But yeah, Rubik still vacuumed there, and I don't think Bane noticed that. He vacuumed him into the lift and pulled him back further, so he covered a lot of distance there and got a great kill on the Bane there. And they almost got this tower down to kill range now. It's almost deniable. And if they can get that tower, that'll be huge, because Shadow Fiend, he's going to have his BKB now. This is really where it's going to be a lot harder for Mouz to fight. Seeing he's level 14 with that Midas up and a BKB, and they don't really have anything other than grip that goes through BKB, but if Panda gets his ult off, that should secure that grip should never last 5 seconds.
Mouz is definitely wanting to go for the jugular. We actually just saw, looking at Puck's inventory, it looks, by all accounts, he's going for Dagon. Yeah, just bought it.
That's what Fada does with Puck. Yeah. He builds Dagon more than any other Puck player.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, against this lineup, it makes sense. I mean, to a point, if you can put it to use and continue to just blow the face off of the Shadow Fiend with it before he gets his BKB up, it's well justified. And looks like Tame at least has one item. Does he have his full BKB?
It's flying to him now.
Okay. Yes. So that's a big nice pickup for them, and they do get the Blade Mail out on the Rubik as well. So Relax should have a chance to stabilize some.
Yeah, that Blade Mail on top of the Clockwork is going to be very big because they don't really have any BKB heroes other than the Mirana, but she's going for the Mjolnir first, which they normally will do. So if she can get a nice initiation, that Blade Mail will do a ton of work and so will the BKB. So it looks like they're going for that tier 1 tower now. They know they're stronger at this point. Well, they should be stronger at this point. But we'll see if they can actually hold the defense here for Mouz.
MSS pressuring top. Looks like Mouz is spread out. Mouz might even concede this. It is very low already. And yeah, just out of deny range, or would have been denied most likely. And looks like they're just going to go, well, they're going to shoot the ulti. And Relax playing very conservatively. Here comes a big rotation though. Arrow will connect on the Dread. There's going to be the hook on the Misery. Misery in trouble. Will end up dying right off the bat. And now they're collapsing. Phaeton was there, got the puck off, but it's 2 for 1 so far. There's going to be the Panda split, and Pycat just going to work in the meantime, though. Tame My Wild still there, looking to pursue him out. He will leap down into the Roche pit, looking for any path out. Arrow dodged, and the Brewmaster split should just about be ready to end. Tame will be able to teleport to safety, and in the meantime, just running the Earth Spirit away to a safe distance. So even though they get the tower, they only got 1 hero and they gave up 3. At least they kept their cores up, but still, that's a very costly 180 HP tower.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like, this Mirana ult is completely destroying Panda. I think they need to get a gem as soon as they can, because every time he pops an ultimate, Mirana just ults, and he doesn't have detection, and he's doing nothing with it. So, at this point, Panda's ult has done nothing, actually. Absolutely nothing. Every time they've used it, which is really worrisome for them.
Mouz now collapsing onto the tier 1 mid. They want to even the score. And Relax not going to react at all. So They gave up 3 for 1 to get the enemy tier 1. Now they're giving up their tier 1 for free. Rubik got Ion Shell, so a little bit annoying for them. Now, if they can trade away top tier 1, it'll be okay. Wards are down, but that tower still has a lot of health. It's going to be the A ultimate in, and it hits it. Tame will be able to BKB, but will he end up shattering nonetheless? We'll have to find out. As
he should be okay.
Yeah, he should be okay. And the Roche Pit, Mouz going to work. They are just going to go ahead and concede that top tier 1, it seems. No, Phaeta's there. He's just going to peck away. Yeah, they're not even going to be able to get it. And in the meantime, taking the opportunity, saying, okay, we know Tame's back in base. We know their team is scattered. Let's just go take an Aegis.
No reason not to at this point. Like, this Dagon is so much burst damage at this stage of the game. If you saw Shadow Fiend almost died just from that combination alone. And he's their most tanky hero by far, other than the Brewmaster, who is making some progress towards that Ags, but at the same time, AA is making the same progress. Actually, he's closer to Ags than that Panda is.
Pycat is getting huge, and getting huge quick. Has a slot filled up with an Aegis now, but has picked up, yeah, his full Mjolnir. Has 500 gold. I mean, he is hitting deceptively hard for this stage of the game. 23 minutes in for Mirana to be hitting this hard is actually pretty damn scary, all things considered. And they need it, because they are so completely reliant upon magic damage. How do you feel about Relax's lineup moving ahead over the next 5 minutes or so?
I feel like they've definitely lost a huge window, and considering how farmed the Mirana is, the Shadow Fiend is scary. Oh, his orb will be down, so that was a little poor save.
Oh, excellent. Yep, unable to blink away. His blink on cooldown for about a second too long that time, so they get a decent pick there. He's down for about a minute. They're going to go ahead and try to finish the work they started at the tier 1 top. TP's coming in en masse, and looks like they're not interested in fighting. And that tells you, I mean, even with Puck down, they don't want to fight. Arrow's going to split the wickets, doesn't hit anything. They're aware Pycat's there, and that might be enough to force them to abandon the lane completely. They could do something cute like fake back. They do have a smoke up on the Rubik. Tames leading with the chin, right back up into lane. Bane, the only one that he can spot right now. Yeah, the rest of them fake backed. Tame didn't get caught with the smoke, but he wants to try to engage. Misery could be a decent target. He passes through. He's got help just to the north, though, in MSS. And here we go. Misery going to be lifted right into the cogs. And this should be an easy kill for them. Investing a lot of time, though, to do this, and only getting a couple of kills. The puck kill worthwhile. If they can get the tower, it'll justify the investment. But all this while, Mouz is just continuing to spread the map. Pycat even now split pushing bottom.
Yeah, at this point, the Mirana is going to be a huge problem. She is so farmed, but luckily for Panda, this isn't a game where Panda falls off really hard as a hero, because they don't have many heroes that can just knock down all the Brewmaster illusions. So, is there going to be a deny? No, almost. So, his spirits are going to be really effective even throughout the late game, considering Mirana is their only right-click damage. None of their other heroes can really bring them down, so they're still going to be very powerful. So, as far as late game goes, it still could be a very even matchup. Darkseer does scale well into the late game. Mirana, considering her farm, is going to scale very well into the late game as well. Meanwhile, we have the Shadow Shaman. If he gets his blink up, he's getting close. That'll be good for the late game as well. Shadow Fiend, as always, is strong late game, and I think this is a good late game game for Brewmaster, if there was a good late game game.
Yep. But Mouz is continuing to put together their items, too. We see the Ancient Apparition right about now should be finishing that Scepter. Yeah, I just bought the last piece, the Blade of Alacrity. So that's going to be done, and I actually feel like that's crippling for Relax. I mean, you have the BKB up on Shadow Fiend, you still have the Brewmaster ulti to rely on, but this is just one of those games where they got so little out of it early, and it's beginning to hit that point already where it's not nearly as scary. And now if you want to group as 5 and push, which is what you should have been doing a few minutes ago, you're doing so into an Ags Ice Blast. And that's tough to begin with, as well as what we see right now, Moonlight Shadow. They may be able to catch one out. Look at that damage! Yeah. Arrow's going to be shot, but it didn't even need anything. He 3-shotted that Rubik. Good coil will catch Dolo. He will go ahead and hook and snap it. Phaeta right beside him. Let's see if they got the damage. They do. Dagon brings him down as Mouz just out-maneuvering Relax at every turn.
Yeah, Mouz at this point, they're so confident in how they're playing, and Relax, just every move they make, you can see they're not confident in themselves. That's it. Like, they're running around like they're not sure what they want to do at this stage of the game, and they're just getting picked off.
Yep. They have that kind of panicked look.
Yeah, they're very indecisive. Arrow going out, not gonna hit.
So much of that's due to Mouz, though. Like, yes, they're making mistakes, but Mouz has done such a phenomenal job of pressuring them everywhere that it's going to be one of those games where it just feels like no matter where you go, you're not safe. So even if you have a general idea of what you want to do in mind, you're scared to even wander out into the jungle, even as a pack of 2, because what just happened happens. Now they get a tier 2 off of it as well, so Mouz beginning to hit perhaps a point of critical mass. Rubik did get Sacred Arrow though, not bad.
Yeah, that could get him a pick off. As you can tell with Pycat, he got so many pickoffs with that arrow, but he's just going to scout with it. Not as good as scouting as it was last patch, but I really feel like they need to be fighting right now. Relax needs to take a fight because they're pretty strong right now, and it seems like whatever they're doing now is not working because they're just getting picked off.
Yep. I feel like they, like you said, to steal your phrase, they missed a big window. Yeah. And now their team composition not nearly as strong as it could have been. They didn't generate enough lead face shift. Dodges Rubik's Sacred Arrow, so that's on CD for a while. Here we go, clap. And the initiate, there's going to be a hook as well that connects on the Misery. Brew trying to pursue them down. Paz could be in trouble. Pycat doing what damage he can, but he's eating a lot. Here comes Tame My Wild, who used his BKB, looking to clean up shop. Paz is hiding in the trees, hasn't been spotted yet, but will be soon, one would think. Yep, gave away the auto attack. He's going to end up dropping. It's going to be a 2 for 2 so far, but that was just the Aegis they managed to get that time. Instead, it's a 2 for 3. And yeah, that was probably about as well as that could have gone for them, and guess what? They still lost the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, it's really tough for them at this point. Like, they've had fairly sloppy initiations in the team fights, and that window that they did have is closing. Mirana is getting extremely farmed. She should have something on the quarter other than that, shouldn't she? Yeah, she has almost a Monkey King bar now. Jesus. She is extremely farmed.
This might be the biggest one-position tri-lane Mirana I've ever seen. It really might. I can't think of a Mirana this farmed at this stage of the game in a professional game. Here we go, big reactions. Fatah left behind. They're going to use Moonlight Shadow to secure their escape. Fatah phase shifting a little bit. There's going to be an arrow that'll miss the mark this time. They do manage to track down Fatah, and not going to be able to do a whole lot, but leave him behind. The wall was deployed by MSS, and they do get the deny on the tower. Doesn't look like Pycat's done going to work yet. Maybe hoping to catch a straggler. AA ultimate misses. Shot a little bit behind. But Puck's still down for 50 seconds. Tough to fight without him. As far ahead as they are, they do need that range. He has 3 levels of Dagon back at the base. Oh, wow.
Why not at this point? Like, if you can get in there and blow up any of these heroes, you might as well go for it. I was a little worried for Mouseports' lineup when I saw it, because, like, alright, they have to get so much work done, or they're in big trouble, just because Relax's lineup is just much more rounded than Mouse's is. And they did it. They got so much work done, an unbelievable amount of work done. And now Relax is in a position where they're just kind of running out, and you can see here, like, oh, he misses on the arrow, but every time they walk up by themselves, they're threatened to get killed by either this Mirana hitting an arrow or this Puck with his, like, Dagon 4 or something at this point. And I'm not sure what their plan is at this point. Every team fight they try taking, they're just getting outmaneuvered.
Just call it hard hat Dota, man. This is what Mouz does. And there are a lot of teams that play this way. Mouz is just playing better this way than just about anyone at the moment, at least in the qualifiers. You know, picking these lineups that have a very specific set of things you have to accomplish. You don't have a lot of ways to get yourself back into the game if you fall behind or if you allow 1 or 2 heroes on the enemy team to get out of control just because the matchups don't favor you. Then you put on your hard hat, you go to work, and you get it done. And this is really kind of quintessential Mouz in terms of what they've done and what has earned them so much respect leading up to the qualifier. Quick pause, guys. It's 20-13. Mouz with a handy lead, coming up on 7,500 gold earned in their favor. Relax. I mean, they do have a team that is tough to crack. It's tough as hell to push Tier 3 into Clockwork, into Shadow Shaman Wards, into a decently farmed Shadow Fiend. Not nearly as high as you would think he would be, but still very, very high on the overall chart. And yeah, so there's still some work to be done, but Mouz in a great position to get the job done. Yeah,
Mouz doesn't actually have the greatest lineup for pushing towers. Like, they have no heroes that really bring towers down. But you can see how confident they are in this game. If you look at Pycat's build, it's pure aggression. He has not a single defensive item here. He has a Monkey King bar and a Mjolnir here. And that's really bad news for the Shadow Fiend, because even if he does get his BKB off, considering the item build he did go for, she's going to still right-click him down within like 4 or 5 seconds. And she has an illusion rune too, which means she's basically got a Manta style on top of that as well for this next fight. And Roche will probably be the next engagement they take. Try to get an Aegis on Pycat, and then he'll just siege the high ground.
Just want to take a look at the wards while we have a moment that Mouz has been using, not just for this moment, but all game long. Their vision has really been great.
Yeah,
and that has contributed so much to their ability to pressure not just the Shadow Fiend, but again, you know, whenever you start to see teams that we know are good. I mean, Relax, they're behind now. They're not a super, you know, they're not considered tier 1 by anyone, but they've got damn good players. whenever you start to see them do this kind of run in circles, scream and shout routine where they're all just moving with no particular purpose, it's usually just because they've reached a point where they feel like nowhere in the map is safe unless they go as 5. But you have things that you have to do, go shove a lane out and everything else. And it's really, like you said, it contributes to that indecisiveness. And even though Relax made mistakes to get themselves in this position, I do feel like Mouz just deserves a lot of credit for how well they have played this style of game.
They've definitely played it really well. The best way to describe Relax for me is, as far as their drafting goes, very solid drafting. I like their draft a lot.
Me too.
Their ideas are very good, but their execution is what's really lacking for this team. Like, they have everything they need to be a top team, but their execution has just not been on point.
Yep, could not agree with you more. Pause continues, so we do apologize for that. If you're just tuning in, this is Mouz versus Relax. We're still in the early Frankers Z. Not Frankers?
Is that a Twitch emoticon?
Oh. All right. Oh,
it's a dog face. It's a puppy paws.
We're not up on our Twitch emoticon game, dude.
I knew it was a Twitch emoticon, but I didn't know which one.
I only know the big ones: Bible Thump and Kappa.
Yeah, that's me too. Those are the golden ones.
Dude, I so desperately want to like have a sponsored account just so I can have like a picture of me yelling in a microphone as an emoticon. I want that bad.
Get it? Can't you have the D2L make one or something?
I could, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of a EG thing. We don't really ever have subscriptions. But who knows? Maybe
get one.
Consider this a public. Consider this a public plea, Alex G. Make it happen, man.
Make it happen.
Game on. Still Mouz's game to win or to lose. They are going to smoke and look to press their advantage already.
And who will they go for? I guess they'll go for anyone that's by themselves, as they tend to. Oh, it looks like we have an engagement onto the clockwork, and he's going to fog it for now, but goodbye, my friend.
Yep, Shallow. Oh, wow. He's actually staying.
Yeah. That Dagon.
That level was at 4 or 5?
4.
4, yeah. That level 4 Dagon. 700 burst damage, not bad.
Yeah, just like 503 or something damage it just did to him. Quite a lot.
Not bad. They are going to go ahead and continue to keep the pressure up, though. And they actually have a chance to cut off the retreat. Yeah, it looks like they're like, don't know where they are. We're dead. We're going back to the fountain. It's fine. But yeah, Mouz should be able to do this pretty much for the foreseeable future. Barring a huge win from Relax, they just may as well get used to the way it feels to stand on those steps, because they're going to be hemmed up and pinned up for a while.
All right, and Fada probably goes for a solo kill here. Oh, doesn't get the Dagon. Forces a BKB. He has to BKB, because if that AA ult hits, he does have an Agnum Scepter. That Dagon 4 connects, and one other new key is done,
Yep, they are going to go ahead and pull back. I'm actually surprised they're not just setting up shop in the jungle and just starving them out. Looks like they want to get all of the lanes pushing the correct way, maybe way down another age. It should be about 90 seconds, I think, until Roche is back up.
Yeah, they don't have, like I was mentioning, they do not have the best, like, base-breaking lineup.
Yeah.
So they do need an Aegis to help them push, or they just need to be extremely farmed. And they're getting there. They've got a lot of golden cards here, up to 3.5k gold. And what, any other big items coming out? Not really, but they just bought all their items, so they're extremely farmed now.
Well, a ulti Panda. Wow, that's actually big. They may end up losing Fate top for it, though. Shalow's there to follow it, and he's going to go ahead, phase shift. Can he jaunt? He can. Very little health, less than 100, still being pursued out. There's a drive-by mech. MSS trying to help him out as best he can, looking for a surge maybe. Nope, just going to blink away. And now MSS the target, but that's a waste, and they may just decide to go push. I can't believe they didn't get a kill there.
Yeah, at this point, Fada's just baiting them out. He's baiting out Panda ults, BKB charges, and Rubik, he's going to still surge and just get out fine. But they're just making them use everything. They just have to blow all their cooldowns defensively.
Misery was winding up for the Fiend's grip. He'll get it now, maybe. Yep, there it is.
And the courier.
A ulti is there, and Pycat, kaboom. Down for 70 seconds. Did the courier actually end up dying there?
Yeah, the courier did die there.
Yep. Dead. Oh, wow, it had a demon edge on it, too.
Yeah, that had the Shadow Fiend's demon edge.
That is awesome. That's an awesome functionality, by the way. It's the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, it was just implemented.
Yep. Sexy stuff. Hashtag BTS prod value.
And they're freaking out because it's not going on. Oh, it's gone.
It goes. That was the first time it's ever been tested. And yeah, just testing it live. Don't worry, guys. It's only the freaking international. It's all right. Don't worry. But Shadow Fiend biffed it again. Courier, I want to guess that was probably his demon edge too. Had to have been.
Yeah, it was his demon edge, and he's getting close to that Daedalus. I assume. Did he? He didn't have the money. I thought he had the money for it, but just the Demon Edge, not the full Daedalus. But he's not going to be able to grab that for another...
Radiant's bottom tower
I don't even know
is
what
under
time.
attack.
Oh, it does have the recipe. Oh, it didn't show the recipe. Wow. Back to the drawing board, guys.
Again, testing the software. It's only the international, only, you know,
yeah, I was looking, I was like,
guys.
he definitely had money for that, but I was looking at your screen and it's like, okay. It just had a magic stick and Demon Edge on it, but no, it did have the recipe as well.
Still really cool, by the way. I am trolling for anyone who thinks I'm actually frustrated. I think it's awesome. Roshan, about to drop again. No way they can contest this. Hell, they can barely get out of the place, let alone make it to the Roche pit. And Tame is getting rather large, but I don't think he by himself is going to have the firepower to stem the Mouseports tide.
He definitely does not. And Mirana at this stage of the game, when she has this, she's up to 3k gold after she goes Roshan here, and an Aegis. She's probably going to go for more aggressive items, probably Daedalus, maybe for a Deso if they want to. It's not the best damage you could possibly get, but it'll help break high ground, which they're kind of lacking right now. So she's going to get another item sometime soon, and at some point they do need to start sieging the high ground. They're in no real rush considering the late game isn't the greatest on Relax. I was going to say Panda could scale well in the late game, but not against this Mirana. She's not way like too farmed, yeah.
You know, the Shadow Fiend has done what he needed to do, which is farm and do damage when you can. The two heroes I have felt zero influence from this entire game practically is the Brewmaster and the Shadow Shaman. It has not felt like those two heroes have really been here. Like, yes, they've gotten off the Panda Ultimate, yes, it's worked somewhat, but in terms of the way that those heroes should make the first 20 minutes of a game feel, just no presence whatsoever.
Yeah, I would go as far as, like, pretty much 4 of them have made no impact for me. Like, the Shadow Fiend, you can argue that he has good farm, but he's actually made no impact as well onto this game other than having good farm. And the Rubik, for me, is the only one who's actually made any plays this game. Clock has done decent, but...
He's hit his hooks.
Yeah, but that's all you can ask for. But Rubik has made a couple plays outside of that, so he's doing okay. But it looks like they're going in.
Hook this time. There's going to be a leap. Pycat leaps right over it. Forstaff gets him out of trouble. Do they want to pursue? They're going to get the dust off. Sentry's down as well. If they get Pycat, the Aegis, no, good vacuum wall. And now Tame caught with that Fiend's Grip. He's blown to pieces. 3 down for none. And the Ancient Apparition likely to be saved here as well. Pursuing out what remains, just the Brewmaster. The Rubik will blink away, and looks like they're going to let him go. In the meantime, yep, they're going to find Yoki. So what could have been great blows up in their face. 4 for nil, 27-13. Last remaining outer tier tower next on the list. Looking to crack high ground next.
Not looking good. This Mirana is out of control. And they actually can't fight anymore. Like, it's kind of impossible. Yeah, they really can't. Like, this Mirana does have a butterfly flying out there. This A ult has been on point. Whenever Shadow Fiend tries getting his combo off, and he's the only one that does damage, he just gets ripped instantly. They weren't able to cancel it, and Vada, he can solo kill anyone pretty much at this point with that Dagon. He has 4k gold. Not sure if he's going to have time to use it, but maybe he goes for E-Blade here and just, he can probably even one-shot the Panda at this point with that combination.
Mouz
structures are fortified.
Looking to beat their chest and sound the victory drum soon. The team coordination, as you said, has been phenomenal. And then, yep, Fada's going to go in. Dread. One last auto attack secures it right before the jaunt, so a mega kill for Fada now. And a couple of items coming out. Scepter, or excuse me, Scythe for the Darkseer. Butterfly now done for the Mirana as well. Daedalus done for Tame, but probably going to be too little too late. They're still hanging around here. Here we go. Brew comes in with the clap. He's going to be blown up immediately. BKB up on Tame. Will be able to bring down Pycat with one last raise. Charging out, trying to do what damage he can. Got one more, too. The Bane dropping there. Pycat has to bounce out. Now there's a vacuum to bring it back into the coil. 3-man coil. They're all trapped. Wall goes down once again. Tame takes the big biff again. 75 seconds down. Doesn't matter because the GG's called. Right at the 38-minute mark. Relax finally relents. Taps out and Mouz improves to 2-0. Off to a great start here in this European qualifier. And yeah, if there's been a game that you could have asked to see, if you're coming into this going, you know what, I haven't watched Mouz that much. What's all the hype about? I think we just saw the reason.
Yeah, they really abused what a lot of teams would not do is like Shadow Fiend goes for that early Midas, really greedy for a Shadow Fiend. Instantly gets in the jungle, punishes him really hard, and Relax had this timing window. It was like, get the BKB up quickly, go take towers with the Shadow Shaman wards and the fast blink dagger with Brewmaster, but they weren't able to do that. And I think they're a great team. I think they have good ideas. Their draft is good.
Oh, yeah.
Just execution is lacking for Relax. That's about it for me.
That was like the most standard Mouseports draft of the past 4
Exactly.
weeks. They always go for the Ancient Apparition tri-lanes. They love to get, I'd say, like Bane or Rubik for Misery, and they just go around shooting Ancient Apparition ults out in the mid game. Normally they go aggressive tri. In that game they chose not to.
Right.
I don't know if they predicted the lanes correctly, but it still worked out for them in the end. Fada going mid on the puck, it's a Dagon, and basically like nowhere is safe. So we saw in the mid game, once you got Ags, you're just forced to pop BKB. And my one concern for Mouse is just they're so predictable. Like this might work against a team in a best of one. I feel like Relax didn't really study them, to be honest. I was surprised not to see a ban on the Ancient Apparition. I think that's the key hero for their strat, but hey, they didn't do it.
I actually liked Relax draft more than Mouse's.
I really did too.
I think Mouse is like, they're so all in on the early game. They didn't have good push at all. Their late game kind of weak, so if a team can just protect their towers and have better late game, they'd be in great shape against the lineup like Mouse's.
They win not by picking like the better draft. They win because like they're so, like you were saying, they're comfortable with it, and they get aggressive early.
Yeah, they just outplayed them, to put it simply.
The way that they lost to Fnatic in the Summit EU Grand Finals was that Fnatic saw the draft coming and just completely countered it. They went for like a 5-man just deathball lineup, and what does that draft really do when you 5-man before Darkseer comes online? You can't do much. Ancient Apparition with low levels isn't strong against it.
In theory, Roxkiss matches up good against Mouse.
Yeah.
By that
if they're drafting like this, I have yet to see anything else from Mouse. But hey, I mean, it's TI qualifiers. If you ever have a pocket strat, this is probably the time to pull it out. So they take a win here. They should beat Relax. Frankly, I thought it'd be easier than it was, but Relax, I think, shows some promise here.
Yeah. I mean, they were outplayed. You know, it came down to everything you guys just talked about. Mouse knows this. They know how to do the work. It is a draft, as you said. You can't really be like, oh, we did Midland. Like, they have to get a lot of work done. They did. And I don't know. Like, I am, by your theory, what you were talking about, like, Roxas matches up well. I actually think PR matches up well against that kind of play style because PR does love to just apply a lot of pressure early and then start to 5-man around. So that could be a complicated matchup for them. But for now, they remain unblemished.
For now. I'm a little nervous if I'm a Mouse fan because teams are going to figure this out eventually. And to me, like, I don't actually think they got enough done in the laning stage. Like Fear was saying, I think if you put like the way that game was at 10-15 minutes in the hands of a more confident, just accomplished team, Mouse loses that game. I think they won just because they're more confident and they just slightly outplayed them. But with that being said, I guess they are undefeated, like you said, Aaron.
Yeah, I think that might be, by the way, the most farmed one-position tri-lane, defensive tri-lane Marauder I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Like, she was gigantic. And GPM and everything at the end, not super impressive, but just what she was able to do, the impact that PyCat had that game. Didn't die a single time. What did he finish? Like 8, 9 kills? Something like
14-0.
Teams have done a few things to try and counter this Mouse strat. One of them is banning out PyCat. So the key heroes for him are Mirana by far, and then I'd say the second, kind of distant second, is Weaver. He does run that from time to time. I think against this team, you either ban or take Mirana yourselves, depending on who's first pick. And for supports, if they want to take Ancient Apparition the first 2, that's okay. If they don't, I think you ban at second phase for sure.
Yeah, Poss loves playing like AA, Rubik, Visage. I think those are his go-to 3 heroes for the most part.
Yeah, I'd much rather give him like Rubik or Visage than Ancient Apparition.
Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for Fear and I for the moment here from the main studio. Take a look at the schedule, tell you exactly who's coming in next. It will be Sunsfan and Syndran. And looks like Fear and I are actually going to be hanging out being your analysts. It'll be VP versus
Monomaniacs.
Yeah, Monomaniacs.
Or now
Coast.
called Coast.
Yeah. So VP taking on Coast coming out of the main studio. Make sure you head to beyondthesummit.tv and you can catch all of our hub coverage. We've got all of our streams there. All the stuff you could want to see, no matter where we happen to be. This is the EU qualifier, this TI4 coverage on the NA Hub presented by Monster Energy. We'll be back here in just a bit. Stick with us.